And doubt becomes a really safe mechanism to say, I kind of relinquish this control. I'm going to accept this doubt because then I don't have to make a choice that's more uncomfortable or scary. We protect ourselves with it. Welcome to Intuition Unlocked, the podcast empowering empathic women who feel misunderstood, overwhelmed, or disconnected from their intuition, begin to trust their sensitivities, find inner clarity, and show up with embodied, unstoppable confidence in their daily lives. I am your host, Olivia Ashley, an empath and intuitive, and I am so happy you're here. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Olivia, and today we're unpacking doubt. Together we'll explore the roots of doubt, what it is, why we have it, and how it manifests, how doubt disconnects us from our intuition and spiritual wisdom, and why this keeps us from living fully, and powerful practices to move from doubt to confidence, blending research-backed tools and intuitive guidance. By the end of this episode, you'll feel equipped with new insights and tools to reclaim your inner trust. Let's begin with the roots of doubt and why it's showing up in the first place and what we can learn from it. From a psychological perspective, doubt often stems from fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. It's our brain's way of keeping us safe by avoiding perceived risks. So you can look at doubt as another layer of our mind wanting to protect us. Spiritually, doubt can signal a disconnection from our inner self and even from our soul. It's like static is on the radio and it's making it hard to hear our inner truth because we've added a layer that's compromising our true frequency or the strength of that frequency and the energy that's in our truth that's wanting to be shared and us to hear it. And yet doubt is muting it, covering it, creating a static layer. Yet, like everything, doubt serves a purpose. It's asking us to pause, reflect, and deepen our trust in ourselves because there's something not quite right. There's something that is causing that static. There's a reason that that static is there, the doubt is there, and then it's up to us to do the work to go deeper and unpack what is doubt for me, why is doubt coming up, and why am I doubting in the first place, whether it's social conditioning, an inner belief you're holding, a fear. Could be multiple reasons, and yet there is always a why underneath the doubt. I have also found that there's a connection to some bigger questions around what is my purpose? Who am I? How do I express myself authentically without judgment? And some studies in psychology reveal that people who experience chronic self-doubt often struggle with perfectionism or a fear of judgment. It makes me think of the good girl, like we're wanting to be perfect, to follow the path that we're shown we should be following. And that has created some perfectionism and fear around people seeing us in a way that we don't want them to, or we don't want to feel ostracized or like we're weird. We want to be a part of the pack. We want to have a role in the community. And understanding this can help us approach doubt with compassion rather than resistance, because as someone who has personally struggled with doubt, struggled with wanting to express myself, to use my voice, I struggled with the external expectations and judgments that came with it. I really was resistant to ever wanting to fix my doubt. I lived in indecisiveness. I lived in copying and reflecting back what I thought people wanted from me. And yet, when I started to stop resisting it, I found a space that was really beautiful and an offering there that I knew if I uncovered and took time was going to take me somewhere really incredible. So have compassion for yourself if you're someone that struggles with doubt. Intuitively, you can think of doubt as a question, not a verdict. It's an opportunity to tune in and ask, what is my intuition trying to tell me here as I'm facing doubt, as I'm struggling with doubt? And doubt can disconnect us from our intuition. We can struggle to be able to hear our voice, know what it is within us that's wanting to come forward, because again, we have this layer of doubt that is creating confusion. When doubt takes over, it creates mental clutter that drowns out our calm, supportive voice of intuition. So, have you ever had a gut feeling about something only to second guess it into oblivion? And this can go from very day-to-day nudges and gut feelings about items. They can also be around big life choices. And if you're constantly second guessing things, especially in the day-to-day, you're going to have a much harder time knowing what to do when you're faced with some bigger choices and realities that can change your life in big ways. No matter the example of how this is showing up, how your voice shows up, when it's showing up, when you have doubt be the secondary part of that equation, you get a knowing or you have a thought, and then you have doubt creep in of, oh, do I really want to do this? Do I want to pursue this creative thing? Do I want to make this change in my life? Do I want to go travel here, change my job, change my relationship? When that doubt comes second, at its root, there's a cutting off of your own voice because you immediately dampened that knowing and you reinforced for yourself. It's like a feedback loop. I hear something, I doubt it, I doubt myself. And it becomes hard to break that cycle. And yet you can, because intuition and these nudges are your body and soul's ways of giving you clues all the time. If you can look at that of doubt being a protective mechanism, our intuition, well, another version of a protective mechanism, is more there to guide you. I see intuition being more as a guide to help you find the most easeful path based on the knowings of yourself, of what you've taken in and how your body is choosing what is the right path or the knowing for you. And then we add on spiritual wisdom, like the psychic knowings and the deeper connections that are also weaving their way in. And when you're not necessarily doing anything with those nudges, if you're doubting them and just letting that knowing be, you are creating an inherent belief that you do not trust yourself. You do not trust your body. You do not know the way. You do not know your worth or what to go for. And you can become indecisive or fearful or confused. And that's going to bring up other feelings of low self-worth, fears, stuckness, confusion, anger, resentment, because you're feeding this cycle of energy that's going nowhere if you're not really acting on it. Or maybe you act on some and you have a level of trust in some manner, but if you're doubting the bigger things and you're not taking the actions or authentically expressing it, doubt keeps you stuck. It keeps you in a place that can feel really dark or lonely and confusing. And I've been there. I've been there many times. In the past, I inherently doubted myself because I didn't really know who I was. I knew where I fit in because of the roles I would play or how I would reflect back based on the friend I was with to have the most ease and happiness between me and those I was interacting with. And yet that left me in a space of, I know how to play roles, I know what's expected of me, and I know how to do that. And yet, what do I want? Who am I underneath all those versions, all those protective mechanisms I've placed? I don't know. And I did that because I doubted myself. I had fears around actually just expressing myself and trusting my voice, trusting my feelings. I didn't want to be weird. I didn't want to come across as not being understood. And so that was my own path with doubt. And then I hit a point where I just got mad. I didn't want to live in that space. I didn't want to operate in that space. I was ready to find the me underneath all those layers of doubt. And it was very freeing. It took a lot of time. I'm still finding my ways through it, of the authentic me and trusting my nudges, trusting the creations I want to do, how I mother, the choices I make. And a lot of them are very outside the scope of quote unquote norm. And yet I think there's so much beauty there. I think there's a lot of us saying, the lives we're living are not fulfilling. I don't feel like I'm alive some days. I am just getting by. And if that sounds like you at all, I challenge you to start to unpack that inner knowing of, where are you dampening yourself? Where are you allowing others to affect you and your choices? And how can you take more of the reins of your truth? And if you're someone who feels like they struggle to know when something is really coming from my intuition or truly mine versus someone else's, or like a doubt reaction that's keeping me protected, but where I'm at, remember that intuition is clear, it's calm, it's grounded. I always say, like, it feels like home. It's just like a quick knowing, a truth. And there's typically very little emotion unless it's supportive. It's going to be more positive. Very rarely is it negative, because even when things come in that are a warning or, hey, something hard is going to happen or happening, it's done so from a place of love. Whereas doubt is going to feel kind of choppy, a bit chaotic. Maybe it's going to be loud and continue to tell you time and time again. And it has this underbelly of fear, a sense of fear with it. So you can begin to use your own judgment of, how did that feel? Before I put any mental thoughts to it or think through what was shared, how did that feel? And was that a truth? And then go from there. I have found doubt to be a prominent block for many women. Being a woman and working with women and mothers, I notice that we inherently doubt ourselves. And this can come in many forms. It's not one size fits all, but there is a core root of doubt underneath. We might doubt our abilities, our ideas, our worth, our desires, our creations, our wants. And I see this energetically as being afraid of failing, being afraid of judgment, from even judgment from yourself of like, will I like who that version of me is? And fear of the unknown. There is a sense of, I know what's safe in the path I've been shown or what we've been told, yet I don't know what will come from this unknown. And I doubt I'm worthy of getting it, or I'm capable of getting it, or I'll receive what I need to be able to live and thrive if I go for this. And we have to give over some level of control. We can only control what we say, do, are, and that leaves a lot of room for possibility. And I know I can overthink things, or I want the plan and I want to know if I do A, then B will come and that will lead to C. And life just doesn't always work that way, right? We have models, we have education, there are things that we can follow and learn to help us more easily walk through our lives. And yet there's a lot up in the air. Yet we can choose to look at that not with fear, but of opportunity. And I think that's where the beauty of life lies, that there is a sweetness to life, that beautiful things can come from the unknowns when we are in our heart, when we are listening, when we have kindness and gratitude and service and love and wants and desires in our forefront. We can desire and want things, and we are worthy of receiving them. Yet many of us, we get stuck in the mundane, we get stuck in the day-to-day, and it becomes overwhelming. And doubt becomes a really safe mechanism to say, I kind of relinquish this control. I'm going to accept this doubt because then I don't have to make a choice that's more uncomfortable or scary. We protect ourselves with it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's an aspect where there's like a good level of doubt to think through things or make sure that this feels good. But it's when you stop living your life that doubt has taken over to an extent that is not being supportive. Your vitality is waning. You're confused about your life. What do I want? Who do I want? Do they want me? How is this going to work? Will I actually get what I want? Those are all questions that stem from, I'd say, like weaker lower chakras to some degree. There's a weaker sense of your foundation, of your rootedness, of the groundedness within yourself, of I know who I am, and that's all I need to know. Those big how, why, who questions come from a place of yearning, of confusion, and energetically, I see blocks within the lower chakras. So your root, your sacral, your solar, and then your heart. It can kind of be stuck. Maybe you are getting lots of intuitive insight. Maybe you are feeling connected, but you're not able to ground it. You're not able to really pull it down into this earth and in this world and express it. There's an aspect of needing to find internal validation, that internal strength, your internal authenticity, and just like true confidence, true courage and knowing that allows it to take hold and you to express what it is you're feeling or wanting or what you receive. And so noting that, check in with those chakras, work on that grounding, the embodiment, and get more settled within yourself, because that is going to help you find more confidence and less doubt. So I want to continue talking about moving from doubt to confidence. One of the most powerful ways to overcome doubt is to rewire the beliefs that fuel it. This could mean journaling about moments when you trusted yourself and it worked out, or visualizing a future where you fully embody confidence and trust. Who does she look like? What does she wear? How does she show up in life? What choices does she make? How does she nourish and tend to herself when there is confidence? Can you imagine, visualize what you become when you step into that space? And then imagine that as a layer over your body here in the present. There are a few other practices I would recommend that will blend practical tools with your intuition that will help you shift out of doubt and into trust. Firstly, get curious about doubt. It's not something scary. It's not this terrible thing. Get curious about it. Become a learner. Ask yourself, where is this doubt coming from? Is it fear of failure, fear of judgment? Am I stuck in this good girl archetype? Often naming the root of your doubt can help take away some of its power and give you more of an understanding of where to go next. Secondly, reframe doubt as a teacher. Instead of seeing doubt as a roadblock, view it as an invitation to grow. It's asking you to slow down. It's giving you the clues, which you can get curious about, of why you're having this doubt. And trust yourself more deeply that you're capable of finding that root and learning something from this. We shouldn't go into it with more fear or frustration. Open your heart, see what's there, and use your body as a guide. Your body holds so much wisdom. It's telling you things every moment of every day. Pay attention to the subtle cues and how doubt and intuition feel physically. The difference between a fear or an ego thought versus an intuitive thought or a nudge from a guide or an ancestor or from a person or being out in nature. Doubt often can feel tight or constrictive and fear-bringing, while intuition feels expansive and light and is usually very neutral, if not positive. Another practice is lean on your spiritual practices. You can listen back to episode 58 of the podcast, where I share a 4-step roadmap to discovering daily spiritual wellness, which goes really deep into this topic of if you're just starting out or you're wanting to expand your spiritual practices or grow your spiritual wellness day to day. Take a listen there. There's lots of good information. And here I'll share creating a meditation practice. This is something I am yearning to do in this new year, of getting back into a consistent practice of dropping in, getting quiet, and then exploring what's there, what's under the surface, what needs attention. I think it's not always about getting quiet and then having to just stay in that quiet space. That can help. It can let you settle and release. But I also see meditation as a beautiful exploration to go within, to see and feel and uncover what's subtly under the surface. Journaling is another great one. Write one sentence, one page a day, how you feel, what's coming up, what are you struggling with? And then I love to also use that time and space to pull a tarot or an oracle card or a couple where you intentionally ask a question or two. And since we're talking about doubt, it can be a very specific question about doubt. What's the root of my doubt? How can I help myself uncover my doubt, work with my doubt, release my doubt? And this will help you reconnect with your inner guidance, but also get guidance outside of yourself. That's what I love oracle cards and tarot cards is you're asking a question and it's like you're getting your own mini intuitive reading and you're connecting with your guides or your highest self. So set the intention, ask yourself or your guides or spirit for more clarity around how you can work with doubt, work with intuition, and trust the signs you receive. A few practical action steps are: start with small decisions. Practice trust in your gut in low-stake situations, like choosing what feels good for your body to eat or which project to prioritize at work. You can use affirmations such as, I trust myself more every day, or I release fear and step into confidence. I highly recommend writing a few on a Post-it note and putting them on a mirror or at your desk where you work or somewhere you're going to see them so you can continually reaffirm and set these mindsets in place. And that's going to help you reframe your own beliefs and your own feelings and thoughts. And lastly, surround yourself with people who support and affirm you, your authenticity, your heart, your intuition, who wants to talk about anything and everything and can help you reflect back, be a mirror for you to unpack your doubt, unpack any worries you're feeling, and have a safe space to be vulnerable and support each other. Doubt isn't here to derail you. It's here to redirect you toward deeper self-trust and alignment. Today, we explored the roots of doubt, how it disconnects us from our intuition, and I gave you some practical tools to shift from doubt to confidence. If you're feeling stuck in doubt right now, remember, your intuition is always available to you. It's a quiet, steady, neutral voice waiting for you to listen. Trust it because it knows the way. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. If this episode resonated, I'd love for you to follow the show and share it with one friend who might need this message too. Together, let's help each other trust ourselves more and live our lives fully in our hearts. Until next time, stay grounded, trust yourself, and continue shining your light. Thank you for joining me on Intuition Unlocked. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of insight, guidance, or intuitive inspiration. To dive deeper into our community and get access to exclusive content, head to my website at www.olivia-ashley.com and subscribe to my newsletter. You can also connect with me on Instagram at wildlyolivia for daily inspiration and updates. Remember, your intuition is your superpower. Trust it, nurture it, and let it guide you. Until next time, I'm Olivia Ashley, and I can't wait to connect with you again.